Hey guys, welcome to Aftermath. This is a show where we attempt to clean up the mess that Pastor Scott just made. Right here at Grace Men's Live behind us, we've decided that we're just going to leave it at cleaning up his mess. We're not going to.
You've decided that. I kind of feel bad for Pastor Scott when you say that.
Okay, well, nonetheless, I don't.
Okay.
I'm Bain, Don Bain, and this morning I'm here with my good friends. This is Ken Hall and Colonel Chris Wokel. Today is Wednesday, February 9th. We are in week 6 of the habits of growing a relationship with God, and this week was Pastor Kareem Smith. He was discussing our defense in the day of evil. So Chris, when you and I did our DMD group, we memorized Ephesians 6, which I thought was fascinating, and well, I kind of sort of did, but not really. But it's the whole armor of God, and as a history buff, I really like the mental imagery of the Roman centurion, putting the most fearsome soldier of the day, putting on his armor and getting ready for battle. So it's a great analogy, but what does that really mean? Like, why are we doing that, and what are we worried about?
I agree. I think it's great imagery. I'm always reminded of my time in the Army and being with my squad and doing patrols in various places, and we all checked each other's uniform. We all checked to make sure that our load-bearing equipment was properly fastened and things weren't rattling and making noise, that our helmets were secure and put on correctly, and that our weapons were ready to go, and our boots were laced up. We were checking each other. We were checking each other's uniform, our equipment, our armor, to be prepared for battle.
So not only you're putting on yourself, but you're also checking your
absolutely. I think that's a great parallel to what we need to do in community as Christ followers, is walking alongside someone, making sure that they're ready. And Pastor Kareem talked about spiritual warfare, and he focused specifically on the shield of faith and the helmet of salvation, but there's also shoes, and there's the belt of truth and the breastplate, and we have an offensive weapon as well. Check Ephesians 6 for that. But those things are what God has given us to sustain ourselves and to be successful and live through this battle and to ward off the evil one.
Great. So Ken, what was your takeaway from today? Have you ever experienced spiritual warfare?
Absolutely.
And if you have, is this a concern? Is this something that concerns you or should concern us?
Yeah, the biggest battle I had in my life was when I first became a widower. Oh. And I lost my first wife, and I was by myself, and I drifted away from the Lord a lot, but I wasn't in fellowship in a community. Even though I was going to church, it wasn't Grace, it was another church. But I wasn't fellowshipping, I wasn't reading the Bible, I was not in prayer. I was doing the exact opposite. I was seeking mediums. And now, of course, I'm attending a church, Grace, and I'm in fellowship, I'm in community, I'm taking classes, I'm in prayer daily. So I've really grown, but I came from a really dark place.
Wow. Well, thanks for sharing that. That's really, being vulnerable.
Yeah.
That's really great. So, Chris, kind of wrap this up. How do we take this imagery and we already know we're in battle. How do we do this in our daily lives?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think we all struggle with this. In fact, it's probably why we need to hear it more frequently. Part of our responsibility as Christ followers is to engage the day properly, and that should start off with being with Jesus, listening to him in his word, things that we would call spiritual disciplines or quiet times, the things that we do to prepare our minds and our souls for our day. In my home, when my girls were growing up, I had this big poster in the house reminding them about putting on the full armor of God before leaving the house. And I think we each need to do that as well. We should have some thing or things that we do to help prepare our minds and our hearts for engaging the day. So in the mornings, I put on my armor by reading the Bible, spending quiet time listening to what God might have to say to me during that period, and praying and focusing and being intentional. Being intentional about what I'm doing.
Well, I like the idea of it starting in the morning and starting your day that way. They say that discipline, you can grow discipline, you can learn to become disciplined, more disciplined. But a lot of times when I've read that, it starts out with how do you start your day?
Yeah.
You know, it could be everything from starting out, you know, how do I press the snooze first thing in the morning? Just something as simple as that. Do I make my bed? We've read, you know, some
Yeah.
things about that. So, but part of that is starting off the day. And so often you hear people making excuses or giving reasons why they can't start their day that way. Then I'm not a morning person.
Well,
or whatever.
so many parts of our culture are like that. Even
Yeah.
Franklin Covey used to say, "Start your day with solitude," or he had some time devoted to being quiet and thinking about your day, what's going to
Yeah.
happen, and devoting that time to that.
Yeah.
But here we're talking about devoting our time, devoting ourselves to being prepared for spiritual warfare in the
Yeah.
day of evil.
Yeah. So thanks, guys, for coming today. Appreciate it. Fellas, thanks for listening. You know, go on the Grace website, the Grace Men's Facebook page. There's all kinds of great resources there. If you're watching this, you probably already know about them. Don't forget about the podcast Pressing On. And, well, great to see you guys. Thanks. Thanks, guys.
Take care.